Hello and welcome to Beyond the Boundary. This is the 2015 season preview for the Richmond Football Club. My name's Nick Geisen. I'm joined by Josh Rickard and Vinay Lakshman as always. Now boys, the Tigers, they won 10 in a row to finish off the 2014 Premiership season. They've come up against Port Adelaide and they got absolutely smacked.
Hammered.
I tipped them in that game too. I tipped them in that game.
What are you doing, Josh Rickard?
I just thought their form was magnificent at the time, and it was.
That's probably what Port Adelaide told Richmond. What are you doing, Richmond? What are you doing here?
Well, I think Port Adelaide kicked the first 8 goals of that game, and it was just done and dusted. But we're talking about 2015.
I'm sorry to start on that note, Tigers fans, but it has to be said.
It does get better from here, trust me. But 2015 is a massive year for the Tiger fans, Tigers in general, because they haven't changed much of their list. They've kept a relatively similar list. They've brought in some very, very good young players and a very experienced player in Taylor Hunt.
Yep. What do we think about Taylor Hunt as an inclusion to the
Well,
season?
I was going to ask you that, Nick Geisen.
Okay.
Because Taylor Hunt, I've always looked at him as a complete waste of a spot in the 22. But if you can convince me different.
It really depends where you put him. As a tagger at Geelong, he played his best footy. I thought he was a great shutdown player. He's got some great skills in that role, in that if he gets the ball, he can really break away. Okay. He can even get forward and kick a goal. He's a nice outside player.
Does he have pace?
He's got a lot of pace. So
that's good then.
He works well as a tagger. If Richmond use him there, I think it'd be a great acquisition.
Yeah.
At Geelong, he got pushed out of that role. They had to put him in back pockets, on the wing. He wasn't really good in that. If you see him in the back line, he's got the ball, he hasn't taken a mark. If he's just trying to run free, look away now, Tigers fans, because that ball could go absolutely anywhere. But as a tagger,
well, that's interesting then, because they've lost Daniel Jackson.
Yeah.
Thank you.
They've lost Daniel Jackson, who was their tagger. And Matty Thomas has been in and out with the injury problem. So, it makes sense that they're picking up a tagger.
The thing I see here is Richmond haven't had the best of luck with recycled players.
Yep.
That's true.
You have a look at here. Aaron Edwards played at West Coast and North Melbourne. Oren Stephenson at Geelong. Todd Banfield at Brisbane. All recently delisted.
Yep.
And you can think back.
Well, Aaron Edwards is retired, but yep.
Yeah, he was going to be delisted anyway.
Okay.
But yeah, you have a look back in past years. They haven't had the greatest record with recycled players. So hopefully Taylor Hunt can be one of the good ones for them.
Yep. Kane Lambert's a player who's a chance to replace Dan Jackson's spot on the side, I guess. He's 23 years of age, mature age rookie. He's been picked up from the VFL. What do we see from him?
He played at Williamstown, I believe, and was touted to be picked up in 2013.
Yep.
He was having that good of a year back then. Backed it up again in 2014.
Yep.
And now he finds himself on a rookie list at an AFL club. So it's thoroughly deserved. Watched him a couple of times when they played against Essendon.
Yep.
And he dominated each and every game that he played against us. So
we see what players like Dane Zorko at Brisbane have done after playing 2 or 3 sort of 4 seasons in the lower leagues, and then coming in and making an instant impact because they've got an AFL ready body, they've got the skill set, they just need to be drafted.
The best one that I can think of is Michael Barlow.
Yep, Michael Barlow.
Played at Werribee in the VFL, is just tearing up in the AFL since he ever came in.
Well, you look at guys like Tom Rockcliffe, Matty Priddis, all from the rookie list. You know, so you can get some really, really good players in that rookie draft. But what surprised me is he was picked 46 in the rookie draft, so he wasn't even the first taken in the rookie draft.
Yep.
He was left him right till the end, but I don't know.
Big raps for him at the Tigers.
Yeah.
Nick Vlastuen.
Vlastuin.
I've never been quite sure about that one.
Vlastuen.
And David Asprey. We're expecting big things from them this year.
Yep.
Should see some significant improvement.
Well, Vlastuin's set for some midfield time.
Yep.
And David Asprey had a very good start to the season before going down with injury.
He was winning their best and fairest before he went down with injury.
Yeah.
So you can see how highly the coaches and whoever give the votes rate him. So he'll be easily best 22. Give Troy Chaplin and Alex Rance a bit of a chop out.
Yep.
Interesting to mention something we didn't mention off the top, just mentioning Alex Rance. He's put contract talks on hold until the end of the year as well.
He certainly has.
We'll make a few Tigers fans a little nervous.
Bit of a worry there.
I'm confident he'll stay.
You're confident he'll stay? He was certainly an absolute rock at the back for the Tigers in 2014. All Australian fullback, so you'd hate to lose at the end of the season.
Yeah, Vinay's a bit dirty that Eric McKenzie didn't
Where was easy? But anyway, we're on to Alex.
Ben Griffiths is a player who we could see break into the 22 this year.
Goodness. Well, he was already the 22, wasn't he?
Oh, at stages, yeah.
He's been in and out.
But at the moment, he overtakes Tyrone Vickery for me.
Okay.
Oh, definitely.
Griffiths just offers a little bit more for me. How old is he? You've got it here.
23.
23, yep.
23. He's got to step up now. He's had a few years in the system. He's got that booming kick on him. He can kick it from about 65, 70 metres.
Enormous right boot.
Reminds me a bit of old Severio Rocker.
I was going to say Scotty Lucas, but Scotty Lucas, comparing him with Ben Griffiths would be a disgrace to Scotty Lucas.
But Benny Griffiths, I feel, can give more of an input than what Tyrone Vickery can, and give Jack Rewalt a much needed chop out.
He's got very good hands, Ben Griffiths, good mark, and he's also can play chop out in the ruck.
Yeah, he can play a bit of ruck.
Yeah,
Yep.
so, as Josh said, he's just got a lot of variety to him, and he doesn't bring as much trouble as Tyrone Vickery either.
And I think Griffiths is more mobile than what Vickery is. Vickery seems to lumber along a bit.
Yeah, Vickery's a bit one-dimensional in that respect.
Yeah.
So,
Fun fact, guys. Guess
we
who
love him,
Richmond took Griffiths ahead of? Guess who was taken? Yes, it was Nathan Fife. So you better give this guy games, because otherwise you're going to be licking your wounds.
They have had a history at Richmond.
A player who they absolutely nailed in the draft was Brandon Ellis.
Yes,
he's ready to take the next step. I'm a huge fan of this kid. What are we going to see from him?
I'm getting sick of his
Play on a wing.
Play on a wing.
Yeah. Play on a wing for me, because he doesn't get a hell of a lot of contested ball.
If you want to know what he needs to improve, you look at one of his games last year, 31 disposals and 1 contested.
1 contested.
31 uncontested.
We're not calling him soft.
No. It's just he's playing his role.
He is playing his role, but every now and then you maybe do see him hang out the back a little bit.
Correct.
But that's not a bad thing, because he can use the ball and he can run with it.
Yeah.
So, but if the time comes, he needs to burrow in and win the hard ball.
Reece Conker is having his first ever pre-season. He's in for a big year. Could add another
first
dynamic.
ever pre-season.
First ever
full pre-season.
First ever full pre-season.
Full pre-season.
Yeah. Could add another dynamic to that midfield.
Yeah, well, I rate Reece very highly.
Yeah.
It was pick 6.
He was. And he had that brain fade against GWS last year where he probably should have got more than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But he's got to step up now and say, right, I'm ready to be a crucial member of this football club. Because he's got the talent. He's the exact opposite of Brandon Ellis. Because he goes in hard, wins the hard ball, and burrows in. He just loves a hard ball.
He's a bit of a beaver, isn't he? He likes to burrow right in.
That's exactly right. So I'm hoping he can stay injury free, because he has had his injuries in the past.
Yep.
But I'm hoping he can have a very big year for the Richmond football.
Well, another 2 players who you'd also hope Vinay would stay injury free, Jack Rewalt and Ivan Marich. They're also having injury free pre-seasons for what sort of feels like the first time as well.
Along with Alex Rance, probably their three most important players.
Correct. Yeah. Well, Jack Rewalt, we have everyone has a go at him for this and for that, but the fact is he's a very good player and he is a crucial player in that side. He's a big moment player as well, so he needs to stay fit. Ivan Marich is in the leadership group. Yeah. He's the vice captain now, I believe.
Maybe.
I think he's been promoted to vice captain. I remember reading in the off-season something. He's a very good player as well. They love him down at Tigerland.
Yeah.
They absolutely love him.
He's cut the mullet off.
He has. Good. He's taking things seriously, Ivan.
Streamlining his haircut.
They probably told him, look, if you get rid of your mullet, we'll put you in the leadership group. And he waited up and said, yeah, all right.
I think it was his missus, actually.
Okay.
I think I'm going to marry
we could talk about we could talk about this all day long.
His missus wasn't going to marry him unless he cut the mullet off.
What I would like to talk about, boys, is what we're expecting from the Tigers in 2015. If Vinay can hold himself together.
Yeah.
The fans are expecting as high as top 4. What are we expecting from
them? No, not top 4.
Well, their best football is top 4.
Yep.
Yes.
Which is what we saw second half of the year.
Yep. 10 games in a row they won. They've beaten Sydney. They knocked off there.
Sydney who...
I'm too afraid to make a call on this far out from the season, because I just don't know which Richmond we're going to see. Because
I'll say top 8 is what I think they'll get. I think top 6, they'd be pushing for that. That's what they'd be hoping for.
Yep.
But I don't see them in the top 6. I think top 8, 7 or 8 is more likely for me.
Well, having said that, the pass mark we have given to Richmond this year is 5th to 6th. Earn that home final there. We're setting the bar high for them, but they have the potential, as you said, their best is good enough to finish in that kind of area.
Well, the worst case scenario would be 7th to 8th and finish where they did last year.
Worst case scenario?
Worst case scenario would be missing the finals, whether it's 9th, 12th, 11th, whatever.
18th, yeah.
18th.
Well, I don't think it's too far out of the question to suggest that they could miss the finals.
Oh, absolutely.
There are about 6 clubs all fighting to get into that 8th spot.
Absolutely. So, worst case scenario is missing the 8, and if they do...
And you say they'll even be disappointed if they're sort of 7th to 8th.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yep, sure. And that concludes our 2015 season preview for the Richmond Football Club. We hope you've enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.